Happy Vlogmas and welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. In today's video I am going to be reacting to my 5-star predictions. Now I filmed this video right back at the beginning of March. I never posted it because my intention was always to react to it, because I watched a lot of 5-star prediction videos. I think they're really fun, but I was always intrigued to see what the people ended up actually thinking. So that's what I'm going to do now. But mega lols, I just watched the introduction to this video and it is really funny because I feel like I definitely thought this was like a super original idea that no one else had done. And that was all the way back in March. It's now December. A lot of people since then have also done this idea. So my intro is like, woo, brand new spin on this idea. But it's like, everyone's done that now. Poor me, back in March, thought I was so clever, but I was not. Okay, so let's watch the video and see which books I thought were going to be 5 stars. Hello! Today I'm going to be doing what has become a pretty popular video on YouTube. I believe started by Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings, so I'll link to her channel below. But I'm going to be putting my own spin on it. This has become my favourite type of video to film. I just love doing reaction videos. I'm just the reaction channel now. No, you're not, Emma. Everyone does reactions. I'm going to tell you about the next 5 books that I predict will be 5-star reads for me, and then when I've actually read them all, I'll come back and tell you if I was right. That's me now. And that's what you're watching right now. The first book that I predict will be a 5-star read for me is Let Me Lie by Claire Mackintosh. This will be my 3rd book that I would have read by Claire Mackintosh. She writes thrillers and it's my favourite genre anyway, but her thrillers are just in a league of their own. Her first book, I Let You Go, had honestly the best twist I've ever read in my whole life. Her second book, I See You, was just such a creepy premise that I was just terrified while reading it. And this is her 3rd, and the blurb is pretty vague, so I don't know what to expect, other than that the main character's parents have seemingly died from suicide within a few months of each other, but Anna, the main character, doesn't believe this is what happened and she thinks they were murdered. And the slogan here says, they're both wrong. I'm just ready for Claire Mackintosh to blow me away with another crazy twist. I think this is going to be a 5-star read. Okay, it wasn't. Short answer. As you just saw me say, both of her previous books were 5-star reads. Let Me Lie was like a 3. I just did not think it was anywhere near as good as the other 2. The central mystery was not as compelling to me, and also was a bit less clear what had happened. I got to the end and there was this moment that I feel like was supposed to stop you in your tracks and make you rethink everything, but I didn't understand what it meant. So with Claire Mackintosh's first book, I Let You Go, there's this really, really amazing twist that everybody talks about. It's so, so good, and it really is as good as everyone says. Ooh, the light just got brighter. Haunting of Hill House up in this bitch. Whereas in this book, the twist wasn't as good, and I don't think the books have to have twists like that. It's actually something I find a bit irritating when people talk about thrillers, is it's kind of like, if it doesn't have a great twist, it's not good anymore. And actually I think great twists, I love them. There's so much. They're like my favourite type of thing to have in a book, but that's only one type of book, and you can have a great book without that. But this kind of felt like a halfway house of like, sort of setting you up for this big twist, but like the whole way through you know it's not really what it seems, so you're just expecting the twist. I've said twist a lot in the last few minutes. So that's a shame, and it hasn't put me off Claire Mackintosh. I think she's a great, great writer. I will definitely read whatever she has coming up next. Possibly this was just an anomaly for me. I didn't get on with this story as much, and I know lots of people did love it. But I just have very, very high expectations for her because her last 2 have been so much fun and so creepy. They've both had me like properly scared, and there weren't any moments in this one when I was at all scared. Another author that's blown me away in the past is Fredrik Backman, so I am predicting that A Man Called Ove will be my next 5-star read. Fredrik Backman's book Beartown was my absolute top book of 2017, but it was really grim. It was really sad and made me like angry and upset. And apparently that was kind of a departure from his usual style. He usually writes more upbeat, heartwarming stuff. So I'm really excited to read something a little happier, and I've heard such rave reviews. I love his writing so much. So I just can't imagine that this won't be a 5-star. It wasn't a 5-star, but it was close. I loved it. I did really, really love it. And I originally did give it a 5-star, and then I downgraded it to a 4 because the way I do my ratings, I'm not particularly strict on them. I use a 4 to summarise like a big chunk of things, and then I reserve 5 stars for books that I just loved more than anything else in the world. So this book I loved, and I would definitely recommend it, but I'm not going to put it into my like 5-star all-time favourite books category. It's very, very lovely and it's very, very heartwarming, but but I think I preferred Beartown because that one was more grim and it was more like unflinching, and it does have the sentimental aspect and it does have the sad aspects, but it's also got this anger and this grittiness, whereas this one I feel like was just more of a classic, you'll laugh, you'll cry, it's very sad, it's very heartwarming kind of story. And it was a very good example of that, and I love his writing, and I definitely am going to go and read more from him, but it just didn't quite live up to the like power and like hard hittingness of Beartown. But I'm still going to say massive success. In terms of predicting books I'm going to love, I did really love this one. And another new favourite author that I discovered last year was Celeste Ng. I read Little Fires Everywhere and absolutely adored it, so I'm predicting that Everything I Never Told You will be another 5-star for me. One thing that I found really clever with Little Fires Everywhere is that the novel opens at the end and then flashes back, so that you know what all of the events are leading towards the whole time you're reading it. And this one does the same thing. The book starts saying Lydia is dead, but they don't know this yet, and then we're going to go back and find out what happened up to that point. Celeste Ng writes the most incredible characters that all of them you just fall in love with, even if you don't agree with their motivations or what they're doing. And I've heard pretty much the same praise of her debut novel, this one, so I'm guessing this is going to be a 5-star read. Yes, it was. It was absolutely a 5-star read. I liked it even more than Little Fires Everywhere, if that's even possible. God, these lights are really flickering. So yeah, I was just like nodding along with what I was predicting about that one. It does have that thing of characters who you don't agree with, but you sympathise with them so much and you love them so much. And the person that I found the most interesting, the most heartbreaking, was the mother. She gets so many things wrong. It's just so many things that are terrible and hurtful to the children, but I cared for her so much and I sympathised with her so much, even while I found her completely infuriating. It was the same with all the characters. They all have such great intentions, and Celeste Ng is such a beautiful lights, oh my god, I'm being properly haunted in here. Celeste Ng is such a good writer that you fully enter the head of everyone that she writes about. So even a character who in real life is so different from you, while you're reading it, you feel like their motivations make total sense and you're so behind them every step of the way. It's so sad, this one. God, it's so sad. Just watching families like try and do the right thing and then get it so wrong by each other. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. I cannot recommend it enough. Definite 5-star read, definitely my favourite books of the year, even better than Little Fires Everywhere, but I also adored that one, so just bundle them both together and buy everything that Celeste Ng will ever write. I loved it. Okay, now on to some authors that I haven't read before. A book that I've been holding on to for a while, but I think is going to be a 5-star read for me, is If on a Winter's Night a Traveller by Italo Calvino. And this one I read the beginning of in the Try a Chapter tag, and just fell head over heels in love with it within a few lines, and I bought it straight away and then just haven't got around to reading it yet. Typical. But it sounds so meta, and I really love meta things. It's like written to you, you're the character in it, and you go into a bookshop and buy If on a Winter's Night a Traveller by Italo Calvino. So the whole book is kind of about you reading this book. So weird, and I love that shit. I was in love with this within just a few sentences when I tried the first chapter, so I'm thinking the whole book has to be a 5-star read. Okay, so this one is deeply disappointing. This one I can't even give you a star rating because I DNF'd it. This one had been so highly anticipated for me. I just genuinely thought I was going to love it. It never even crossed my mind that I wouldn't love it. I actually did read quite a lot. I tried for quite a long time, but it's so odd, and the opening is so great, and I loved everything about it. So the opening is all about this really meta experience of you reading a new book, and I loved that. I'm still going to like highlight that passage, bring it out for people all the time. It's a wonderful quote. But then after that I realised that the structure of the novel was not going to work for me, because actually I don't really like starting new books. I love books, I love reading more than like anything in my life. Starting a new book is always a bit of an uphill battle because you've got to like learn new characters and new storylines and a new world. And this book is just a series of first chapters of new books. That's just like what it is, it's how it works. It's this guy who finds an error in the book that he's reading, so he goes to get another one. When they give him that one, it's a brand new book, so he starts again, and then it's like a treasure hunt kind of. Each time he gets to the end of a chapter, he has to go off and chase the next book and start again, and then you read those first chapters and they're all completely different. And you're like, there's no cohesiveness to it. I'm just reading first chapters, and I'm not even trying very hard to get into them because you know that in a few pages it's going to cut off and you have to start again, so I don't even pay attention to it. Ugh. I'm so sad because it's such a cool idea. But the rest of it was just not for me, so this was a big disappointment of my 5-star predictions. Okay, last one. And then finally, a book that my mum gave me for Christmas I'm predicting will be my last 5-star read of this video, and that is The Homemaker by Dorothy Canfield Fisher. My mum read this one and has been recommending it to me ever since. It's basically about a family in which the father becomes ill, the husband becomes ill, and so he has to stay home and carry out the traditional wifely duties. This was published in the 1920s. And the wife has to go out and work. So it's all about subverting gender roles and this couple discovering what happens if they like their other roles more and they don't want to fall in with what is societally expected of them to do. All these great questions that we feminists love to talk about, but especially as this is a Victorian novel. I don't know when it was written, I know when it was published, but we can say it was certainly ahead of its time. And this edition also has an afterword by Elaine Showalter, who I read a lot of during my Women's Studies Masters. And you know, you can always trust a gorgeous Persephone book to be great. So I'm predicting this is going to be another 5-star read for me. So what happened? Did I love those books as much as I hoped I would? Yay! Another one that I got right! This was a 5-star read. Now I've actually done already this Vlogmas a whole video talking about this book. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because I already did that. I made a video where I made a gingerbread house while talking about The Homemaker, because I was a homemaker. So I will link that one below and you can go and watch it there. Basically, yes, absolutely 5-star. That description just sums up why are there so many ghosts in my light bulb. It was a really wonderful exploration of gender roles and how to subvert them and why to subvert them and how your life can open up for you so much more when you subvert them. It was so happy and hopeful and sad that so many people were stuck in their roles and like the extremes they have to go to get out of those roles. All of that is a bit miserable, but this book just made me so happy. I actually cried tears. It takes quite a lot for me to cry in a book, but I did. I cried while reading it, and since then I have tried twice to describe the bit that made me cry to people, and both times been like, oh my god, I'm getting all teary again. It's so moving and so beautiful, and go and watch my video all about it now. So those are my 5-star predictions. I was right about 2.5 of those, really, if we're counting A Man Called Ove was nearly there. So now I'll have to make another list of predictions and see what I'm gonna like next. So do give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave a comment with what your highest anticipated books of 2018 were, and whether you read them and what you thought of them. And of course, do subscribe to this channel because I am posting new videos every day of Vlogmas. See you next time.